We're live and it is Friday. Woohoo!
Happy Friday, friends.
Yes. Midway through the month. And it's our last IT hour of the year. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I'm taking off next Wednesday and then it's like, see you till next year. So
I think I'm about in the same boat. I was gonna say we've done so much at Jump Cloud this year that this is the first time I've really deeply needed the holiday break the way that I do right now. I'm really looking forward to relaxing with my family and taking stock of what's to come in 2023, because I look at what we've got planned for 2023 right now, and y'all, I can't wait to show you. There's so much good stuff coming. David, what are you up to on this holiday season?
Well, it's very important to take stock, as you said, and spend time with family and friends. And I have four-legged family behind me. So the dance card's pretty full.
Nice.
that's great. I, on the other hand, I have my tree up. I still need to decorate.
I'm in the same boat. Don't feel bad. Our tree has been sitting very comfortably in its brand new Crinner stand, which has like a giant reservoir, which is great. From a product perspective, I get super nerdy about the details. Like, it has a little depth gauge for how much water's left in it. It's so amazing. Yeah, it is totally naked. I have not decorated my tree yet, and I feel kind of bad.
That's pretty advanced.
Mine's fake because it's just easier. But it
is.
has lights on it. It has built-in lights, so at
okay.
least it's lit, and that part still makes me happy because I can make it twinkle or not, and it has different colored lights, so that part's great. I have a single lit snowman on my porch, so I at least have something decorated. But I have others that I haven't put out either, so probably this weekend, and I still have shopping to do. I'm trying to twist my kids' arms to get their list. I'm like, I only have so much time before Christmas. If you want your gifts under the tree, you need to tell me so I can shop, or you're not getting anything except maybe a gift card. That's kind of boring. So we're working on
Or
that.
a lump of coal. Who knows?
Oh, Rob says we're not going to do IT hour on Christmas Eve. Boo. Sorry, Rob. I'm going to be kicking back and not checking my email. So you're on your own. That's why we're going to talk about our favorite things today instead of, on Christmas Eve. So people have time to shop and tell their family. 6 pet rats out of a tree. No, but my cats are surprisingly good with the tree. They will lie underneath it, but they don't climb it, which shocked me. I'm very, very grateful that they don't climb it. They like to chew on it. I will find little nubs of the tree everywhere, but at least they don't climb it. So we're good there.
That's good.
I saw on Instagram this morning with somebody's pet raccoon, and it went right for the tree. I don't think there's going to be any ornaments on that one.
Well, when
You
we
said
first got
two
our
words
cats,
that I was not familiar with before going together like that. Pet raccoon.
Oh, it's terrific. This raccoon's multi-talented. It even paints. You can purchase its art online.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay.
I might have to go check that out. We were talking last week about AI art, but raccoon art, that's a new one. 2 more words I would not expect to put together.
Correct.
All right.
What are we talking about, Becky? What's on the agenda for today?
We have, thanks for that segue, Tom. I was just ready to jump into that. So we've got community, and we're going to update a little bit on meetups because we had a couple this week, even though Alexa's not here. Another wedding, but we won't tease her too much when she's not here about that. And then we've got some great product stuff, including, drum roll, Tom's got a demo for us. Woo, woo.
Not 2. 1, but 2.
2 demos.
Ooh, it's an exciting one. Well, they both are.
It's a twofer. Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And then David is joining us back again today. David, glad to have you back. And he's going to talk about our end of the year wrap up. And then if we have time, we will talk a little bit about our favorite things and maybe some gift ideas. So be thinking about that and get ready to put if you haven't already chimed in on the thread, be thinking about what you want to drop in the chat. And maybe I might have some t-shirts for people.
We have one request for raccoon art. Just calling that one out.
You might have to send a link. So be prepared. We might have some t-shirts. I may not be able to send them out until the new year, but we do have some of our previous t-shirts available finally. And then we'll chat a little bit about chat if we have time. So with that, I'm going to flip over to my document and talk a little bit about what's going on in community. First off, Keith. Yay. Keith put a script about adding a printer to macOS devices with Jump Cloud commands. That came from a discussion in the lounge, and then he pulled that together and put it in the script repo. So Keith, thank you for doing that and putting that where people can find it. Chris has some more MSP topics going on, talking about a CompTIA cybersecurity trust mark. So go check that out. That's a really interesting thing that they are doing now. And Sean has added a search shortcut for support KBs in Chrome. So he's adding some instructions on how to do that.
That's super helpful. That's a great way to, help make your own internal KBase, or your own internal documentation system available directly in Chrome through search. So lots of great options there. Sean really takes that feature apart and lets you know how to do that with Jump Cloud. So that's a superb option from.
If you haven't been in the community lately, there are so many great how-to posts. And the cool thing about Jump Cloud is that we don't prescribe a way to do things. We provide the building blocks for IT people to be flexible and productive. And Sean's been a superstar in the community. So just want to highlight his work there.
Yeah. There have been so many great scripts dropped into the community recently. Like, I think that has been the most active board over the last couple of weeks. So make sure you go check that out. On to meetups. We had a Raleigh meetup on Tuesday. It was small but fun. We had a great time. We met at a place called Tobacco Road here locally, and really good food. It was hopping, man. Everybody's having their Christmas parties right now. And but what's really cool about that place is they have a game room and some awesome food and really easy parking. And so we had a great time chatting and everything. So it was really good, and we're looking forward to doing a bunch more in the next year. Tom, how did it go in DC?
DC was great. I was gonna say we had a bunch of people turn out, but it was really funny. We walked in and there was one side of the bar that was an IT company's party, and then there was the other side of the bar that was Jump Cloud's party. And it was great. We by the end had gotten a bunch of the other IT folks over onto the Jump Cloud side, which was a lot of fun. And made some new friends, which was good. But we had a couple of MacAdmin luminaries in the crowd. Rich Troughton came down from Frederick, and Gerard Massey came down from Alexandria. So it was great to have a bunch of people. We had some great pizza and a couple of beverages. I did not know there was a thing called a white stout. It is a stout-like beer. So in terms of its depth of flavor and roastiness, but it looks like a lager. So it was very tasty. That was very nice. But there's a lot of, function that we're going to try and build up in the DC meetup in the coming year. And maybe I can convince David to come out and when I come up to meet the Philly MacAdmins sometime in the new year. So we're going to try and take this road on the show.
Oh, okay. You're asking for it. There's about 4 boutique breweries in my neighborhood here in Fishtown and Philadelphia. Another
fantastic
shout out for Fishtown.
Oh, and I'm already putting in the case for coming up to MacAdmins as well. Like, I'm as part of the meetups thing.
It'll be fun.
I'm going to make that happen. Seriously. Like, there's at least a couple of different things that I'm going to try to make sure that we're at. And that's like the number one.
Sweet.
So yeah. And we're going to see if we can make a Philly meetup start to happen too, David. So you might be on the hook for that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to volunteer you, but
there's a great tech community here. So the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking forward to lots of great things with meetups. We're going to focus a lot on that. So looking forward to doing more of that. Well, there you go, Kelly. Absolutely. You should. Kelly's gonna start her campaign to attend. You should. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say the Penn State Mac Admins Conference. This is coming up in July. The call for papers will be out shortly, so that if you manage Apple devices at scale, and especially if you're using JumpCloud, there are all sorts of great opportunities to talk about ways that you can make your environment new and different that can help drive community adoption. And this is a great place to just go talk in front of your peers, talk about what you're doing, explain a cool problem that you solved using all of the tool chains that you've got available to you. It's also probably one of the friendliest groups of human beings that I've ever been around. And their group of 500 Apple admins at the Penn Stater is probably one of the happiest crowds that I've ever been part of.
There's great ice cream there. That's why.
And I was going to say, come to the creamery. You must go to the creamery. Have you been to the creamery? Because it's almost a little bit like the dog park in Welcome to Night Vale. You must not look at the hooded figures in the dog park. But, I feel like that is the cult following that the Penn State Creamery has on offer. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to make the case and look forward to that. And with that, we are going to move to product. We've got a couple of recent posts on the community about product releases. First one, user verification codes for MFA into LDAP. And I think that relates to TOTP.
Yes.
Tom, do you want to
So
talk
I was
about
going to
that?
say we brought JumpCloud Protect first to LDAP transactions earlier this year. When you do an LDAP authentication, you could get an MFA code on your phone and go from there. Now you'll have the opportunity to do that with TOTP codes built out of whatever TOTP code generator you're using, whether or not it's JumpCloud Protect. So for your organizations that support those kind of opportunities, or for your auth mechanisms, I feel like there are a lot of really great options here. There are some things that you need to do if you want to adopt that. There's a different LDAP endpoint that you're going to want to move through. So take a look at the Dave's post in the community. Lots of really, really great stuff from our auth teams there. So give that a look. It's a great way to expand the security of your current LDAP flow if you're using TOTP codes as opposed to push alerts.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was another one, restrict access based on disk encryption status with conditional access policies. I think that was also from Dave.
Yeah, Dave Madrid and the auth teams have been working strongly on the different policies that are out there for user portals, or for the JumpCloud user portal, or you can just gate it for specific SSO applications that are out there. You can now make disk encryption mandatory on the device that has the device trust certificate. So you can set it with the policy, but you can also at that point, for identified devices, ensure that no unencrypted devices have access directly to your environment.
Big win for compliance.
Huge win for compliance. There's a lot of great, this is the first of many stories coming out for new conditional access rules that we'll have a lot more to talk about in the first quarter of next year. But for now, you can definitely make sure that only encrypted devices have access to key resources using JumpCloud's conditional access.
Very awesome. And we'll have to see if we can get Dave on in the new year to talk about some of these.
Definitely.
Yeah. And with that, Tom.
Yeah. I think that, one of the things that I wanted to come talk about, I got two things that I want to talk about today, and I want to show them, because I feel like showing is better than just telling, right? I feel like if we're all visual people, we want to be able to do that. So I'm going to switch over to sharing a window here, and give me just one quick second. I'm going to share a screen and then minimize some things. All right, great. So now we should see this. Let me pull up in my remote desktop access window here. Oh, and it's been so long since we started that my screen saver had kicked in. And of course, I have to remember what my password is.
That always helps, for sure.
So the machine that we've got here is a machine that's at the Setup Assistant. And we're going to go through the Setup Assistant here and set up this device. While we talk, it's going to go through the setup process. So in this case, I have a device that's here. you know all about, automated device enrollment. Automated device enrollment on macOS allows you to fully configure your device and deliver, policies and applications down to the device. If and only if those policies and, spots can be delivered via Apple's VPP, which, for example, our CrowdStrike Falcon script isn't supported for. But I know I have a need on my devices to make sure that they're secure from moment one. And so I want to make sure that I have the ability to run commands directly on the devices when they're enrolled. JumpCloud hasn't been able to do that until yesterday. And so now we've added a new whole set of commands that are out there. And so I'm going to switch windows here and go back to my admin console. And while that happens in the background, we're going to go look at what those are. So here you can see I'm in my environment, and I've got some commands down here at the bottom. And you'll notice that they have funny little icons on here. That's because they're designed for execution on enrollment time. They say launch on next registration. So when the JumpCloud agent is installed for your platform, so if you install it on Windows, you can get one set of commands. And if you install it on macOS, you'll get another set of commands. Or if you install it on Linux, you'll get a different set of commands. And so here you can see that I am using a JumpCloud common script here, so that this is the script that's in our guideline here for installing CrowdStrike, and it's actually going to go out and get a CrowdStrike installer from our test version here. So our test tenant is going to have the device ready to go at that spot. I'm also going to use an open source piece of software called Installator to install Chrome, Firefox, CyberDuck, and Notion on the device directly from those environments. And so that's going to happen in the background as well. Next up, I am going to run a command to rename the device in JumpCloud based on the host string that I consider here, which is the serial number, the model information, and the bound user. And last but not, and in fact, I'm actually going to take this one out because this one isn't relevant any longer. But at this point, these commands are going to run automatically on any new macOS system that checks in. So if we go back, you can see that we're still applying settings here. It's actually going through that process of getting all, 25 odd policies that I've got associated with my automated device enrollment group, as well as the initial commands. But it's going to go through and apply those settings. But what we wanted to do here is, because these commands are a little bit different, they're clearly updated here in the spot. So you can see that, hey, this is an enrollment command. If I wanted to add another one.
Hey, Tom, can you zoom in a little bit? It might make it easier for people to see. Can you embiggen your...
A little bit better?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So it's a new type of command after agent install. And so here you can choose your platform, Linux, Mac, Windows. And you can choose your, who you're going to run as. Chances are you're going to run as root on the Mac OS or the Linux system. So if we go and make this a, echo the time kind of situation. So we're going to say set time of deployment and report result. And we're going to give this a preceding letter of D because we want it to run fourth. And so in this case, we're just going to run back out and say, echo date. Oh, in fact, I don't even need the quotes, do I? And echo NTP, in this case, uptime. So you see if this is a brand new system out of the box or if it's a system that's been around for a little while. I'm going to say it's got a timeout of 120 seconds, but since this is a Mac OS command, it will run on any new Mac that checks in. And so now you can see down here at the bottom, I've got my D set time of deployment and report back, and new systems that report back in will show you that. So let's go back and look at our environment here. So here you can see it's waiting on the enabling location services prompt. And it's going to take us through initial login here. Forgive me, the Intel system on which my VM is based is just a little bit pokey.
Well, while you're waiting for that, Keith is asking, would love to know what your 25 policies are doing.
Oh, sure. Let's go take a look at my ADE policy group. So if I go to my policy groups, I have my automated devices policies. And so here I'm allowing activation lock. I'm allowing standard users to approve screen sharing and recording. I'm setting the app privacy preferences for Google Chrome. I've got the Chrome 0-day browser patch management policy enabled here, as well as CrowdStrike's Falcon MDM settings policy, which licenses Falcon for me, as well as sets all of the permissions to correctly on. I'm disabling AirDrop, the guest account. I'm turning on FileVault. I've got the firewall on and set to a specific set of things. In fact, I have that twice. I should probably fix that. I'm setting the login text. I'm sending a mobile SCEP request so that it registers with a certificate authority and gets a new identity cert, and then also checks the system unlock control. And then you can see that this is assigned to my automated device enrollment group. And so if we go back to the device here, it's waiting for me to enable FileVault so that I never have to worry about my device being unencrypted in the wild.
You know, that was amazingly quick to get the results. There's other platforms where you don't know when the commands are going to run.
Well,
So
sure.
this is
And
just so significant.
the other piece of this is that this is not the complete story of everything that we're going to be talking about for the long term. For the long term, we think it's incredibly valuable not to just have this available at ADE time, but to have all of these commands run on new provisioning options. So this is the first part of those stories. The second part is that right now, the only way to automatically assign groups to devices is through Apple ADE. But what if it weren't? And so we see that there's an incredible amount of value in our orchestration and automation stories with JumpCloud. And coming in January, you'll have the ability to set default groups for all of your platforms and enrollment types so that you can say any Windows device that registers with JumpCloud through the agent install and connect key process will get assigned to policy groups, device groups, as well as software groups and other things along those lines, commands as well, scheduled commands and recurring commands. So that when you get a new device onboarded, you will be able to essentially assign the group that gets delivered to that devices, and it will inherit all of those software management options, recurring commands, and policy objects. I'm really excited to bring that out for more than just our automated device enrollment group. For Apple devices, you'll be able to do this for Windows and Linux as well. So that installing JumpCloud means delivering compliance to your devices through the exercise of policies, commands, and software products. I'm really excited for that come January.
Hey, one more question from the crowd. Is mobile SEP for the new radio cert ability or something else?
Something else for right now. So it's a SCEP policy. You can configure a SCEP policy on your own outside and have the device then go get an identity based on that. We've got a lot more to talk about in 2023 about how we're going to use certificates like that, especially around the concept of device-based authentication for Radius networks. This is not that. This is something else that I've been playing with that I'm not ready to talk about in more detail.
A couple more. With enabling FileVault after agent install like this, is JumpCloud able to create the service account with secure token, etc., as needed automatically?
Yes.
All right. And one more Mac-related question. Can we have a way to temporarily grant users admin access to make changes?
So I guess the question is really, what are you trying to accomplish here? There are a couple of certain products that will let you do this on the fly that work in concert with JumpCloud, provided you don't need CLI. I'll point you at SAP's Privileges application, which works for user-based authentication tasks. And can handle things that way. There are ways to, run scripts on devices to essentially elevate users and de-elevate users using the JumpCloud API on a per device basis. We certainly can see the value of doing that. However, I always think about maybe the less nice version of Tom Bridge out there who with admin rights could just create a brand new user and start using that user and do everything that they want to do to kind of root their own management solution right away. So I think that we need to put some better guardrails on any effort to do that. So our hope would be that we could do that using other mechanisms on Mac OS and Windows to provide you the ability to address certain settings or install applications as a non-admin user without compromising and giving up the entirety of admin abilities. I think that the any kind of like, give me admin for 15 minutes. Well, great. All I need it for is about 30 seconds. And then I don't ever have to worry about your managed framework ever again. So those are the things that I get concerned about. There are guardrails that we can put up to do those things. It's just going to take longer and require more to get there.
This all solves a problem I've been having with applying CIS benchmarks to a bunch of Windows machines. It just streamlines the entire process, and it's super cool.
Absolutely. So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit today. So here's our system, right? So you can see it's got a brand new name. It's based on the user, the serial number of the device, its platform, and at that point, the name of the user. And so here you can see more about the system and, go through that process. You'll also be able to, determine, hey, there's my bound user. It's part of this automated device group. It's got all of these 14 policies that have inherited that way. And I could even start a launch remote assist session from this environment if I need to then go talk to the user. If we go and we look at our commands results for that device, you can see, hey, here's Falcon installing on the device. And it says, hey, by the way, running package scripts install was successful. And license was applied successfully, which even makes me happier because it's applying that license based on the MDM policy that is being delivered for. If we look here in the install more things section, you can see here, we've completed the installs necessary to install Chrome package, to install CyberDuck, and all of those tools. And then at the conclusion, we can also see, hey, by the way, I did set the name of the device successfully here. So everything was handled as appropriate. And we get the full set of command results. I didn't have to touch the machine, and the machine was fully configured for me. So here you can see I'm now waiting to choose my look. I'll set my machine to light mode because why not? You can see where it's on Cupertino time because that's where all VMs start. And when we pull open the device, we can see here that Installamator installed Chrome, Firefox, CyberDuck, and Falcon for me. As well as Notion, which I put here. So this machine was ready to go at moment one on login one for the customer, which is really exciting.
Seems like a win for MSPs too. My
100%.
last company was in a rural area, and you're looking at a 45-minute to 1 hour drive to visit the client on site. So that's time saved is money earned, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so if you don't have to be like waiting at the keyboard to handle a bunch of new hires or people with new machines to issue all of the commands needed to go through this, you've got all of the tools that you need today. Moving your commands over from existing scripts is also just a place where, hey, I want to check the Falcon stats because essentially I want to make sure Falcon's running the way that I expect it to, right? So all I need to do to make this an enrollment command, copy the contents of the command, close out, add a new command after agent, paste that in, set my value, and say check Falcon stats. And at that point, I've got a command that's ready to go as a brand new, command down here for primary execution. You'll also notice we updated the glyphs here for recurring commands. And there will be, more glyphs as we go through time for scheduled commands and things along those lines. So all sorts of great new options coming here. These aren't the last command triggers that we're working on. In fact, we're working on next login and every login command triggers that will also be out in January. So that if you look at a command here, you'll be able to set at that point from the launch event run on next login, run on every login. So that it's another kind of scheduled command that only occurs at login time, which is a great way to replace a daily scheduled trigger. Especially if you've got a software update policy associated with that. And that takes us to my next favorite thing, which is actually delivering software updates out of Jump Cloud here. One of the challenges that Apple admins face is that sometimes users are not great at doing their software updates. And so here you can see I've got a machine that's running on macOS Ventura 13.0.1. As a matter of fact, that system is right here. And you can see this is a brand new user that Rebecca has set up. So we're going to set up screen time later. We're not going to set up Siri. And we're going to use the light mode, same as we always would. And that when we get to the conclusion here, we've got a perfectly viable system at this point. But maybe I want to make sure that it's running macOS 13.1. And maybe I want to prompt the user to do that in a new way. So here you can see the last two MDM command results here is a schedule OS update scan and an available OS updates dictionary. This ran on the 16th, so today. And so you can see here in the JSON objects, you can see that when it started that, schedule an OS update scan, and it forces it to happen, it's going to report back with all of the updates that are available. And in this case, the only update that it sees is macOS 13.1. For any system running macOS 12 or 11, you're going to see a panoply of update options here as an admin, so that you can say, hey, I've got a macOS Big Sur system that I want to get to Monterey, but that I don't want to force all the way through to Ventura. And so here at the next card section, there is a schedule an OS update feature here. And so here you can say, I want this system to go to macOS 13.1, and you get a couple of options here. There are 3 option types that we give you today. One of them is install later today, which is uses the Apple's verb install later. It will tell the user you have an update that is required by your admin, and you should install it tonight. And I use the scare on tonight because the time that it picks for that update is based on the user's schedule. So for your average diurnal user who's up during the daytime and sleeps at night, you can set that to run during the nighttime hours when it's usually powered down, or asleep. And that is the time between 1 and 5 a.m. And so if you have, for example, somebody who's running a cross schedule where they are up at night and sleeping during the day, a nocturnal schedule, if you will, it will pick a time during the daytime that matches their user behavior. So we can't tell you exactly when this will install, but we can tell you that it will try to install that setting during their quiet period. If they have unsaved work, it will not result in an update. If there are blocking applications that, like a root command line session or a Word doc that hasn't been saved and there's a system prompt that's up at that point, it will at that point, fail out. However, we offer a deferral with this option for macOS 12 and 12.3 and later. You will be able to defer 1 day and it will try again. And so at that point, you do get the experience of saying install later today. Install ASAP means download this update right now and notify the user that an update is happening and give them a 60-second countdown to save their work. Users still have the ability to say no to install ASAP. That is an Apple choice. And so that is what necessitates the install now force update mechanism. And that's what we're going to do to Rebecca's system just for time. So here at the end, we're going to say install now, and we're going to schedule this update for immediately. You're going to get a new kind of modal that pops up here that's, by the way, saying, hey, device restart is required, data loss is possible, and updates can take around 30 minutes to complete. So you're going to have to check the box that says, I understand this action may cause the end user to lose unsaved work. And then we're going to click update now.
That's a very brave admin. They better know how to run very fast.
I mean, I think it maybe should say, I understand this may piss off my end users.
I think that's basically what we're trying to do here. Sometimes it is more important that an update happen than an update happen nicely. I also think that this is a perfect way to issue update commands to individual conference room workstations where there is no savable work here, but you want to force the update to happen in a timely fashion. And so at that point, this device is now downloading that update that is coming down over the air. It's a couple hundred megs, so it should show us here pretty quick. But you can see also now, if we close out of the device and go back in, that'll refresh the MDM commands that have been sent to the device. You can see, hey, we scheduled that OS update. It's doing MSU update 20 through 2 C65 patch 13.1 minor, which is Apple's formal name for the for the Delta patch to 13.1. And you can see the install action is the install force restart. You can also see at this point, these are the updates that were there. This is the status of that and the timestamp at which it occurred. So that you can know with confidence that you sent that command and the command was acknowledged by the other side. If you send this command to a system that is offline, it will not show up as sent until the device accepts the command. So if you don't see a schedule OS update, it won't happen right away if the device is currently asleep. However, starting with macOS 13, you'll be able to do those kind of alerts on a power nap basis. So if a machine is sleeping, it will wake up from power nap periodically to get MDM commands like this one. And we are sending commands in such a way that they are compatible with that.
Tom, you know what the security engineer in me loves about everything you've discussed today?
What's that?
Well, if there's a patch for something 0-day and you're okay with installing it, you can do that. Otherwise, with the commands that you demonstrated for us today, the magic word is mitigations. And if it's worth the risk, if a mitigation is available, you can protect your fleet essentially in real time. This is super exciting, super important stuff.
Absolutely.
And
So
Sean, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sean had a question about these enrollment commands can be anything, right? So we could make our own webhooks on a new device enrollment by calling curl.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. So anything you can do with a command today, you can absolutely do with a recurring or with a enrollment command here to send a webhook to trigger an action to do some things along those lines.
Ooh, I think that's going to make some people happy.
I hope so. And, what's really great is that it's for all three of our platforms together. These commands will fire whether you're on Linux or Mac OS or Windows. You've got the ability to run those kind of command triggered install steps during enrollment here. So that's the really exciting part.
I've seen several comments through here of very cool, wow, great news, exciting, oh my God, this is awesome. So yeah, got some very good comments throughout.
I know that our teams love hearing that, so I'm really excited to share that back out with our teams. One other thing that's important to note about these devices. So for example, we know this is a brand new system and we know it's running 12.6.2. And you can see, device is fully configured. Everything's happy and wonderful. You'll notice that right now, there are no updates for this device. We know that 12.6.2 has updates. It's 13.0.1 and 13.1 at this point. We scan once a day on check-in for your device. So when your device does its daily check-in with JumpCloud's MDM platform, that's when we will send down a schedule OS update scan, wait 30 minutes, and then send us back the list of versions that you have, because it does take a little bit of time for Apple software update daemons to happen in the background. The other thing that this feature allows you to do is move to any version of the operating system that your device will run, not necessarily any version of the operating system which your device can see. Either because you have a major OS upgrade version delay, so that if you're not showing your users Ventura at this point, you could still upgrade a machine to Ventura to test with it using this MDM framework. It has the flexibility to override any of your other policy settings, thanks to changes that your operating system has. The other important thing for you to recognize is that this is also a way, if the system is running macOS 11.5 and later, gives you the ability to upgrade major versions, whether or not the end user is an admin. It used to be that major upgrades required the participation of an admin user on the device. That is no longer the case. Beginning with these MDM commands, you can essentially send this command to install later, and whether or not the end user is an admin, the update will proceed as expected. So that you can essentially take a machine from 11.7 to 12.6 or 11.7 to 13, whether or not the end user of that machine is an admin. So
that certainty for any admin is wonderful, to know that what you wanted to happen is going to happen.
That's exactly right. And so, we're still waiting here. I'm waiting on the demo gods. I'm hopeful that, the update is downloading. I suppose I should pull up in my traffic graph and we can see if there's actually an update happening on the network.
And while you're doing that, Keith wants to know, is the virtual machine layout to work with ADE to just use an existing serial that's not in use?
Yes. So I have an ADE serial number that corresponds to a physical box. And so I wanted to do that for ADE for this time to show you not just enrollment commands, but enrollment policies, enrollment software applications that are coming down from JumpCloud's VPP and integration, not just through the other piece. So I kind of wanted to sketch out the whole vision for where we're going to be come January, because we're already there for macOS today.
Awesome.
And I'm just realizing I don't have my Unify credentials on this device.
The community is a great place for tips and tricks as we roll this stuff out too.
Absolutely. And so, we'll have some more open conversations on what it means to create successful commands here. And a lot of new good things to come down the pike for this as we go into the new year. We're hoping to set up some easy workflows to move existing commands into, enrollment commands. And I'm hoping to have more news on that come, February, March of next year. But in the meantime, that copy paste option gets you there as fast as you possibly can. And I'm dying here because it was so fast on physical hardware. I'm a little sad that it hasn't run yet. We can come back to this once we get some URLs, but I think that is going to cover what I'm going to do for screen share here. So
awesome. Let's see. We got one more quick question. How about automated updates on VPP apps?
Michael, thank you so much for asking me that great question. We've got to have a lot more coming on software updates for third-party applications, both VPP and third-party. As we get into January, February, March of next year, we'll have a lot more to share with you. Scott Reed is working on that now. We're tracing our path forward. So yes, automated updates are certainly something that's on our mind.
Great. And Keith wants to know, but doesn't JumpCloud have a limit of one device per serial number?
It doesn't. It has a limit of one device to one UUID. And that UUID is the board ID. And if you then at that point, the board ID, the model information of the device, and the serial number have to be consistent. If you remove any device with that serial number previously and move it to a VM, you can at that point do testing with that, as long as it represents the correct model information and the correct and a unique UDID serial number combo. I forgot about that during testing and didn't set the model information, and JumpCloud's like, "Whoa, bro, that is not the machine that I was expecting," because it was setting it to be a virtual Mac instead of actually being representing back out a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air 10,1. So we do now have automated support for multiple UDIDs, so that if you send your laptop out to be repaired because, I don't know, someone upturns an entire cup of coffee on your laptop. I'm not saying that I've done that recently. I have not, as a matter of fact, done that recently, but I have done it before. You may get a device back with a different UDID and the same serial number. JumpCloud used to not handle that very well. We used to be like, I don't know what this is, but that doesn't match what I was expecting. So I'm going to flag a 400 error and not enroll this device. You used to have to talk to support to handle that situation. We now update those devices on the back end, as long as the model and number information matches.
Oh, that's good.
So saves time, saves effort. We've also got an effort underway right now. If you've ever had to renew your APNS certificate and you didn't know what the Apple ID was associated with that, or the serial number of the certificate, you might have to write into support to get that information. We're going to display that now. And you're going to be responsible for putting in the correct Apple ID on your next renewal once we get that out sometime late January. So the idea here is you're going to get better information about the APNS certificate that's present.
All righty. Well, cool. That was a lot of great stuff.
A lot to think about. And
yeah,
I'm sorry my VM did not cooperate today, but hopefully by the end. So
I mean, that was pretty good for a live demo, though. I mean, I think the demo gods were mostly with us.
They were mostly kind today, and I appreciate that about them. It does mean that my sacrifice in the background was successful.
Good. Good. I didn't hear the chicken squawk, so it must have been off camera. Sound off.
The stroke was swift but sure.
Good. So we are going to talk a little bit about the Jump Cloud 2022 Wrapped. David.
Yes, but first, true story. My dog chased the neighbor's chickens recently. The chickens are all okay. But so, for as exciting as it is to discuss what's coming, there's a lot to unpack from over the past year. And as Tom noted, there's a lot of nuance that has a real significant impact on what people do day to day. So, this may go, I'll do my best Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire impression, showing my age there. But starting with Open Directory platform. So for the past year, we now play really nicely with Active Directory, and you can coexist with it and Jump Cloud. And there are many, many possibilities there. We integrate with more HR systems. Sometimes we call that HRIS. And as far as groups go, we've begun the process of fully automating groups based on attributes, which, if you think about identity lifecycle management, that is super important. Eliminates human error, reduces the chance for accounts to be over or under provisioned. So that alone would have been a great 2022, but we did not stop there. We continued delivering SSO to everything. So if what's unique about Jump Cloud is you don't need to set up proxy servers to have Radius on-prem and to be compliant, to have MFA on, say, your network switches and devices. We provide all of that for you. But we've sort of closed the loop on a lot of that. So there's push NTOTP MFA for LDAP. For Radius, we added OIDC support. So that provides, in many cases, a lighter weight option for SSO for many organizations, especially when it comes to any custom apps at some point. We also are sneaking out the certificate-based authentication. Can we say passwordless? Don't want to call you out there, Tom, but there was a moment where a little bit of brain fog kicked in. So just think of the advantages for your users and help desk having fewer lockouts, better security overall. It's win-win for everyone. So as we go down through what else we announced this year, I skipped a few platform things. We love Linux, much greater support for distros, policies that are based on standard compliance policies for Linux that are out of the box, especially full disk encryption over several distros. And a major announcement this year, CrowdStrike Partner of the Year at Falcon. I was there with several of our folks, and that just was it's wonderful and humbling to receive that type of recognition from a partner like CrowdStrike, and there'll be a lot more to come there. We did join the CrowdStrike store this year, so there's a lot of value and choice that partnership delivers for our customers. As I skip down even further, reporting, lots of new out-of-the-box reports, including users, SSO to users, much greater visibility. We started to demo Cloud Insights, which is great if you use AWS. Check it out if you have not seen Cloud Insights yet. And as we go down towards the bottom of this very long list, for IT management, rather than forcing monoculture on you and prescribing solutions, we have workflow-based pricing and some really cool add-ons that came out this year, including a decentralized password manager, premium cross-OS patching, remote assist included in the platform, with the ability, I believe, to toggle that off, which is great for compliance and MSPs. So lots going on there, much better cohesion with Windows, with BitLocker and Active Directory. And last but not least, we launched a lot of pro service offerings. So if you need some custom scripting done and a little hand holding, there's no shame. We all get busy. We all have different priorities. We are there for you. And it's a wonderful team. They're really good people. And some of those folks are also in fellow Pennsylvanians. And that wraps up the platform portion. But if you're an MSP, JumpCloud for MSPs launched this year. So you can sign up and try JumpCloud without a partnership agreement. We've added a lot of widgets and notifications so that an MSP can be proactive and you can ward off issues before they become help desk tickets, which makes everyone happy. So you become your client's most trusted advisor rather than being reactive to a problem. And lots of other goodness baked into JumpCloud for MSPs, including integrations with Datto, Autodesk, ConnectWise. So think of billing, think of licensing and other operations, including help desk. There's that integration is wonderful for MSPs. So there's a lot more to come, and I will take a breath and hand this over to my friends here.
Thanks so much for that, David, because I think that, we look at everything that's happened in 2023. There's so much great emphasis here for systems administrators, new products, new features, password managers out there for you to start playing with and to use. It has grown so much already in just the 6 months since it's been out. I'm really excited about all of the different places that are coming for JumpCloud admins overall, and bringing that platform strength of JumpCloud, not just to one operating system platform, but all of your application platforms. Just to toot the horn of the macOS side of the house again, we had about 29 policies in macOS land when we started the year. We're going to finish the year. I think we're going to finish the year at 59. So there are, more than 30 different policies, and some of those have gotten updated as well, to, expand to more settings, to cover new and different behaviors, and to support new operating system versions. So, here at JumpCloud, as we go into 2023, I'm really energized about what's on the docket for us to do in 2023, based on all of the groundwork that we made during 2022.
Absolutely. There's a lot to come, and it's pretty exciting to see where we're headed. There's so many things going on that we want to talk about, but we can't yet. But not to tease anybody, but roadmaps change a little bit and things get shuffled around. But there's a lot. There was one thing I need to circle back on, Tom, that I missed earlier. Tiernan had asked when you were talking about conditional access. Will there be any conditional access rules that apply to iOS devices?
You have asked a very tricky question, my friend, because currently our conditional access opportunity does not apply to our mobile devices. I'll have more to say in the springtime. I'm gonna be shy and demur on this one, let's talk about that when the time is right. Hopefully the glint in my eyes tells you that there's something afoot.
Oh, all right. That's my prompt. There's something afoot. I have to bring up the JumpCloud feet.
Nope, not okay with that. Definitely not okay with that. A little bit disturbed right now, not gonna lie.
I know, but it's a running joke that we have to bring back up every once in a while. And I found the feet, the finger feet.
I just shivered from my head to my toe. Shuddered, shivered.
One of these days we're going to have to give these away as a prize to an unsuspecting person.
The postal
someone who would
inspectors may take issue with that.
To someone who will appreciate them. Probably Stephen or Rob, because I think they're the one or two that would appreciate those. I was at a little shop over Thanksgiving. Not only do they have the little feet, they have finger hands, and then they have finger hands for the finger hands. So it gets really weird really quickly. Tom's cringing. He's like, oh my God, no, stop, please. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard. Foot. See, Rob says foot. See, he knows. Let's see.
I
Was there
think we're
anything else?
all ready for the holidays right now.
Yes, we're all punchy. It's the
I did
last
not bring my
show.
festive beverage, unfortunately.
I know. I had my festive beverage last night, but I don't know. It's only noon here on, I think, yeah, we're all on the East Coast, this group here. So I can't quite spike it yet. So maybe later, maybe in a couple hours, I'll officially be able to spike it.
5:30 somewhere.
I
Yeah,
have
I'll
a nice
I'll go-
spiced I'm sorry, go on, Becky.
No, I was just gonna say I'll watch London time, and then when it's 5 o'clock in London, I will spike it a little bit. I got my eggnog ready to go.
I have a nice spiced mix that you infuse a nice bourbon in for about 3 days before you sip it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very nice. I decided to try making my own vanilla. I bought some vanilla beans, but instead of going with vodka this time, I'm trying spiced rum to see how it turns out. It's been cooking for about 7 months now, so it's nice and dark and should be ready. I'm sure it'll have to be used for only particular recipes because of the spiciness to it, but I'm looking forward to trying it and seeing how it goes. So let's see. Rob says, I have a festive beverage. Coworker was out for an appointment and brought back Starbucks for us. More coffee. Nice. Hey, you know what? There's nothing like a good like peppermint mocha or something during the holidays when it's a little chilly. In fact, I think we might just get the possibility of snow on Christmas Eve.
Oh,
From what I saw, I don't know, things may change in the next week or so, but last I saw it was a slight possibility of
I should
snow.
look because I think we're coming up on we're at what, 8 days now? 8 days to Christmas Eve. So that should be on my weather client. Oh, I'm getting thunderstorms on Thursday.
Oh no!
with a high of 46.
Well, one of
But
my
a low of
neighbors.
29. So maybe I was gonna say carrot weather telling me good things out there. So
Well, let me double check because a neighbor had posted possibility of snow, but I don't see it on mine. They had on theirs, but they're just a tiny bit further south. We'll see. We shall
Speaking
see.
of news, are we going to jump on the AI bandwagon?
Oh, we got 3 minutes. Let's do it. We're going to talk about what's going on with Chat GPT. That has been all over the place in the news, and there's been some interesting conversations going around that. So let's talk a little bit about it.
I mean, Chat GPT is all the rage. And while you could certainly use it to write all of your, audit documentation, I don't think that would be anything but a career limiting move. Certainly it could be a great way to start your SQL queries or your other solutions like that. I'm a little creeped out by it because it's what it's really good as a natural language, generator is that it's very authoritative. It uses very authoritative language. It doesn't have any way to validate whether or not it's right.
Yeah, same with coding. If it's trained on buggy code, you may get buggy code.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
So-
I have a lot of community colleagues who have been playing around with it, and it does spit out some pretty interesting strategy and theory around community, and it sounds very authoritative, but I still, I'm still a little skeptical about it because I think it's just taking all the work that other people have done and it's regurgitating it. Like, where's the analysis and where's the experience that goes into it that can really
Potential for
add the
bias
value.
and whatnot. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That's true. What about the biases that can go into it too? There's a lot of inherent bias, both gender and race, that go into a lot of AI, and we have to be really, really careful about that when we're doing those things.
It also ties back to what we were saying about certificate-based authentication. Think of the cyber criminals using AI for phishing, for social engineering. It's going to happen. So it's important to be proactive and on top of your security game, because as good as the uses of technologies can be, there's always some individuals out there who will have more nefarious agendas.
Well, think about what's happening with some of the art AI generators right now. There's a really big protest right now against some of the ones that people are using for their social avatars, because it was trained using small artists' art that they were not compensated for. And you can even see some of the remnants of their signatures and such in it. And, the big problem is their art was taken without them being compensated. So if the same thing is happening with these chat bots and they're being trained with people's copywritten work, which I don't know. I mean, I'm speculating here. I will just say that I'm speculating. But if that does happen, then how are those people compensated? And then, like writing in the style of a certain person, that gets really tricky. Like if someone were to feed it, say, Anne Handy's work, she's a really well-known marketing writer, but her stuff is copyrighted. If they were to feed a bunch of her stuff and then say, write something in the voice of Anne Handy or Mark Schaefer, how are they going to be compensated for that? That is their intellectual property, their work. That gets really, really sticky very quickly.
It's a frontier.
I think Sean's exactly right. This is going to be the Wild West until there's some regulation established. And I think that for now, I'm steering clear a lot of the AI generation things because I'm just not comfortable with how these models are trained or how they go through those processes. And so it's fun to play with, but you're going to need to take everything that we're talking about here with a deep grain of salt. Knowing that the state is always changing, all of these things are going on, but that's where we're at. So,
and if you think about it, AI is machine learning, which is a different animal. When you talk about something else, it is trained by a person, and there's algorithms written by people. So really, what you're getting is automation. So the term AI itself is something that is a little nebulous and overused.
Yeah, it's really just about training. Let's see, was there anything else? Oh, good news, Kelly. They'll train those gift card bots off the scam messages, so it'll still learn to do the needful. So it's still going to have a few mistakes here and there. Hopefully, something that'll make you skeptical. They need to enforce a source material requirement for output. Yeah, I mean, especially if it's around people's proprietary work. I think that's really the big key here is using ethical sources and paying people for their work. That's the biggest concern I have is I'm seeing a lot of artists and writers who are worried about it. I mean, it has potential for people that want to churn out a bunch of writing that's low level effort. I don't personally like to do that, and I don't really agree with it because I'm a writer. David, I know you're a writer. It's not really my thing. I think there should be more effort in stuff like that. Well, Tom, I know you're a writer too. I don't want to leave you out of that. But I know people churn out stuff like that for, SEO work and stuff like that. Not my thing, but I know people like to do that for certain reasons. But I do worry about that, lower quality. There's already so much noise out there, and having lower quality writing and work is not really where I want to see it go.
Yep. And everyone's work has value and should be respected.
Watermark regulation. Let's see what we're talking about here. Talk about embedded watermarks for the art AI so the bots will know not to use them. That's really interesting. I'd like to see more of that. China has started the watermark regulation. Well, that's surprising to me that they would be the ones to start that, because usually we're fighting that fight with China to get them to respect copyrights. So Rob says it would be China that would be the first with some kind of IP protection. I don't know how I feel about that. How to feel about that? Yeah, that it's a little bit surprising, but good on them if they're the ones that start the innovation on that. I think that's fantastic. Somebody needs to start that. So
Yep.
if they've got the
Unfortunately, I need to duck, friends. I've got other engineering meetings to head to. Happiest of holidays to all of our IT Hour friends, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the new year. May your holidays be joyful and your new year be prosperous.
Absolutely. We are glad to have you all with us regularly, and thank you so much for your time. And we will see you on the flip side next year in 2023. Thank you all for joining us. Happy holidays.
Take care.